Jason, I disagree with Marcellus. And I agree with you, Greg. 100%, the running back position is absolutely vital. Now, I'm coming from a quarterback perspective.
Give it to us.
And I love to throw the ball. I mean, I love throwing the football. Wide receivers are my best friend. But truly, if you get down to it, on the offensive side of the ball, it all starts with running. You're a defensive player. Mm-hmm. You know that. Mm-hmm.
I don't know about that. I mean, just look at the Super Bowl, because I'm trying to go from the most recent game that's freshest in everybody's memory. Just look at the Super Bowl. I mean, New England was the one that was utilizing the run the most. But they passed the majority of they passed for a majority of the game. I mean, their passes wasn't working, so the only thing that was really working for them was the running game. That's why you think that that's why you think when you look at that game, that's why you would think the running back position was utilized the most. Nah, it was the only thing that was working. The passing game was utilized. I mean, if you look at the numbers, the passing game was utilized the most. It just wasn't going anywhere. I mean, almost every damn pass was fucking batted down. But look at the Rams. The Rams have the better running backs. Look at the Rams. The run game was doing nothing. At a certain point, the run game became a handicap for them. Because you want to run the ball, because you have the players to do it. But they're not playing well, so you can't keep running the fucking ball. So what other choice do you have? You have to pass it more. And I'm telling you, the Rams would have looked like a different team if Cooper Kupp was out there, because the passing game is a far more utilized source of offense. Far more utilized. Like, look at Todd Gurley and some of those runs that he had. It looked like he didn't know what the fuck he was doing out there. CJ Anderson was getting tossed around by the defense. Like, there was one run CJ Anderson had where I've never seen a guy that big fall so goddamn fast. It almost looked like he passed out for a second. So, in that game where you had the better runners, and I'm not going to say the Rams had the better offensive line, but they had a good offensive line that I'm pretty sure is very proficient in blocking for the running backs. So you have a great run blocking offensive line. New England is notorious for the past few years for having the worst run defense in the league. And you let the manhandle you. You're going up against one of the worst run defenses in the past few years in New England. Versus you have a good run blocking offensive line and you have great backs back there. CJ Anderson just came off of a great run the past few games. You have Todd Gurley, who killed it during the regular season. And y'all came out there and y'all laid a fucking egg like that. How is the running back position valuable when a team that should have utilized it didn't? So, I don't see how.
What's your first job as a defense? What are you going to shut down first?
Alignment.
You're going to shut down.
I'm still going to Pavlov dog. Alignment.
You're going to shut down the running back. You're going to shut down the running game.
If they got a running game.
Exactly. There you go. If they have a running game, because I was just about to say that. If they have a running game. Because if you're game planning against a team like New England that could kill you in a multitude of ways, somebody put it best when they said playing New England is like picking your poison. It's like dying a death of 1,000 cuts or something like that, because they could do so many things. They won't just beat you in one way every single week. They'll beat you in a different variety of ways. Like, in a variety of ways, there's not one thing they can do. And now when you're game planning against New England, anybody that watches football know their running game is almost the last thing you worry about. because they almost never have running backs that scare you. Sony Michel is a problem. Like, this dude, he's a problem, and it's gonna make it hard for people to game plan against New England, because this dude is able to play as well as he does. But then you also have James White, who can catch the ball out of the backfield. You have Rex Burkhead, who can power up the middle and get you like a hard fought, like 3 or 4 yards. Especially when it's like 3rd and 2. You put Rex Burkhead back there with James Devlin, that's almost an automatic first down. You can't defend that. But when you game plan against New England, you're not looking at the run game. Your first thought is, I need to stop Edelman. I need to stop Gronk. I need to take away Tom Brady's first target. That was the game plan going into the Super Bowl. That's what everybody kept saying. What the Rams need to do on defense is they need to take away Tom Brady's first option, which is usually Edelman or Gronk. You do that, you force them to hold the ball longer. It gives your defensive line more time to get to them. So if they have a running game, of course you're going to, whatever the team's strongest point is, like Kansas City, you're looking to stop Mahomes. You're not looking to stop any of their running backs. You're looking to stop Mahomes. So, I'm with Marcellus on this, man. Like, you're willing to, whatever is the best an offense has to offer, you have to stop it. So,
you're going to shut down that running game first and foremost.
Yes.
Now, if you've got a dual threat running back, we go down the list. You mentioned a few. Greg Zeke. You mentioned.
There are probably 10 running backs in the league that I can name off the top of my head that are future all-pro. Like, all of them are fighting for all-pro honors. Kareem Hunt will be back in the NFL next year. A team will pick up Kareem Hunt. He will not miss next year unless the NFL bans him for the year. He will not miss next year because somebody's going to pick him up. And most likely it's going to be a team either like Green Bay, Tampa Bay, or I could see Oakland going after him. So he's going to get picked up. So you're talking Kareem Hunt, Alvin Kamara, Ezekiel Elliott, Sony Michel, Todd Gurley. Trying to think of some more. That's 5 right there. Le'Veon Bell's going to get picked up by somebody if he's not back in Pittsburgh. So Le'Veon Bell. You have a multitude of running backs. Yeah, you have a Melvin Gordon as well. I forgot about him. Melvin Gordon as well. That's 7 running backs out of 32 teams. But on the flip side, I can name you at least 15 quarterbacks off the top of my head that are far more valuable than their running back on the team. That's what I'm saying. I can name about 20 wide receivers. So how is that position more valuable when you can name more players that are more crucial to their team than the running backs? I'm not saying that the running backs don't take on a lot of work. If you have a good back, that's a great thing. Because it's almost like an extra offensive lineman, extra wide receiver. So, back to it.
Christian McCaffrey, we can talk about
all those champions.
And Christian McCaffrey, forgot about him.
Alvin Kamara, we're talking
All them champs.
Listen, they don't all have Tom Brady on there.
But I got to see more out of Christian McCaffrey. I mean, I believe he's doing a great job. But I got to see more out of him. And he has to help that team win. He can't just be putting up great numbers and they lose. Because before he got there, Cam Newton was able to get that team to the Super Bowl with, what's his name? Jonathan Stewart. And who's the other guy? It was another running back on that team as well. I forgot his name. I think D'Angelo Williams, I believe. He was still on the team. So I got to see more out of Christian McCaffrey.
I get it. And even when Tom Brady's not in the Super Bowl, I'm just talking about it. But why do you think there was an era where we started to talk about, and it's been in recent times, the running back position is the value. The question is, are running backs less valuable now? Absolutely, because you can win. You just said it. Tom Brady. Tom Brady makes household names out of no-name receivers.
No doubt about it.
Tom Brady is an open and closed case right there. You should start the argument. Tom Brady's name is brought up. and the argument should be over. Because year after year for the past, 15 years or so, I say 15 because, there's a lot to think about the actual number, but I could round out with 15. Is give or take a year or two. But around 15 years, man, Corey Dillon was the last almost Pro Bowl caliber running back this dude had to work with. After that, you had Lawrence Maroney, Shane Vereen, Stephen Ridley, Ben Jarvis Green Ellis. You had LeGarrette Blount. You had a bunch of just guys who could do one thing and do it well, but they weren't so high level with it that they're Pro Bowlers. He hasn't had a Pro Bowl caliber running back in years. He's an open and clear, and he's won 3 Super Bowls. He's been to 6 Super Bowls since then. Come on, man.
Sony Michel ran the all 3 playoff games. He was at 100 yards or just below 94 in the Super Bowl.
What about before Sony Michel got there? This is what they need to be asking him. What about last year? What about the year before? So, this argument you're making, it doesn't work. Because you got to look past this year. You're focusing on this year like this year counts for every other year before, and it doesn't.
Other 2 playoff games, he was well over 100 yards. And that opens up everything else. And that's my point. The running back.
How? All right, this is what I don't get. How are you saying that it opens up everything else? But they were doing this stuff before he got there. Before Sony was drafted, they were doing this. So what? From college, from high school, Sony Michel running the ball in his high school was opening up the field for Tom Brady in the NFL. You can't really make that argument you can only make the argument for this year. And that's if you can make it for this year. Because Sony actually started going off like this during the playoffs. He had a good regular season, but he started going off game after game during the playoffs. So, come on, bro. You gotta. I get it. When you make an argument, you have to find a way to make your argument stand on its own. And whether or not you're basing it on fact or what you believe, I get it. But you're wrong. Sony Michel does not open up the offense. The fact that teams game plan against Brady so much, that opens up the running lanes for Sony Michel, because they're not looking at Sony Michel like he's the threat. They're looking at Tom Brady like he's the threat. They're looking at Edelman, Gronkowski. They're looking at them like they're the threat, not Sony Michel. Because if you look at it, Rex Burkhead does the same shit. James White does the same shit, if not more. So you can't really make that argument, man. You can't make the argument.
The quarterback's best friend. If they ran the ball 18 times in the Super Bowl, Todd Gurley only ran the ball 10 times.
Yeah.
Jared Goff looked like what? He looked like crap in that. He wasn't ready to play. But
in
they were
3-3 game.
Yes, it was a one-score game the whole way until the very end.
Yeah.
One possession game until the very end. If they feed the ball to Todd Gurley early, and if they get C.J. Anderson in the mix, it opens up everything.
Who is this guy? Who the fuck is this guy? Because what he's saying makes sense if you haven't seen the game or if the game hasn't been played yet. But we've seen what happened in the game. They did try to get Gurley going. They did try to get C.J. Anderson the ball. You know what happened? They went nowhere. New England's defense shut them the fuck down. And then they stopped running the ball after that. They may run the ball peppered here and there, but they stopped running the ball after halftime because it wasn't going anywhere. And Sean McVay was like, fuck it. If the running game isn't going anywhere, I might as well just pass. And that's what they did. If you look at Todd Gurley in that game, he looked like he didn't even know where the fuck he was going. It looked like he needed a map to navigate the offensive and defensive line. Like he looked like he didn't know where he was going. And C.J. Anderson was getting manhandled. And then you had a couple runs where Gurley actually, looked like Gurley. And then what happened? One of those runs got brought back because it was a holding penalty. And so you could make the argument that that holding penalty was the only reason why he was able to get anything in the first place. So, I mean, come on, man. They did try to use them. They did try to utilize them. It just didn't work. So they had to pass. Come on, who is this guy?
For Jared Goff. I think it was
I agree schematically.
See, and this is the prime example, and then I'm gonna stop the video here. This is the prime example of people love numbers. They love numbers so much that they're willing to let numbers cloud just what the actual numbers mean, like what the numbers actually mean. Numbers can be manipulated. If you look at Gurley's numbers here, 11 touches for 34 yards, you would just think that, he didn't have a good game. But if you look at the game, you can just tell, man, like, I believe there was something wrong with this guy. Like, he looked like he didn't know where the fuck he was going. He looked like he couldn't figure it out, and he had a hard time moving the ball on the ground. And I've always believed, since Todd Gurley came into the league, I always believed he was extremely inconsistent. Because his rookie year, he was phenomenal. And everybody was talking about this dude being the next one up. And then what happened his sophomore year, he fucking completely disappeared. You didn't see him, you didn't hear from him, like nothing. I mean, he was just non-existent. Not like how he was, where he was flashy as shit his rookie year. His second year was almost underwhelming in a way. So this doesn't surprise me from Todd Gurley. But there's something going on, man, because I don't know, man. I mean, you're one of the top running backs in the league. You're on one of the top teams in the league. You're in the playoffs deep. You're in the Super Bowl. You mean to tell me that doesn't motivate you to play at your best? You're getting shown up by some fat ass that just got signed off the street? So, I don't know who this guy is, man, but honestly, I'm starting to believe he didn't even watch the game. I believe he just looked at the box score and just made his assumptions off of that. All right, we'll try to continue this later.